Hi, so to continue on with my series on strings, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the high G and low G. So one of the questions that people ask a lot is, can I switch between the two? And the answer is sometimes. It's depending upon what you're using for a low G string. Our preference for a number of reasons is to use a wound low G string. So it's a metal wound string like you might think of a guitar string. That string is approximately the same diameter as the high G string. So as a result, we slot the nut for either string, and with a simple string change, you can go back and forth between high G and low G. But there's another option for low G that some people opt for. I'm going to show you a couple of strings here. This is a wound string. Stop moving it. So there's a wound low G string. Here is an all fluorocarbon low G string. Now recall that I told you that the tension is a function of the density of the material. So because the wound string is a more dense material, it's a heavier material, it is a smaller diameter. The fluorocarbon is less dense than the wound string, so it's thicker, and it's considerably thicker. It's about 30% thicker. And if we slotted the nut big enough for this string, this fluorocarbon string, then a high G string or a wound string would probably buzz in that oversized nut slot. So when someone requests a fluorocarbon low G, we put that on, we slot for this, but you cannot change back and forth. You can't just simply put on a high G. Now we'll do another video in the future. Sometime we'll be stringing two instruments side by side, one that has a wound low and one that has a fluorocarbon low. And I think we'll do a little sound sample, but let me just tell you in brief why we prefer the wound. We think it has better tone. It certainly, no one would argue that it is a louder string that has more sustain than the fluorocarbon. And remember, I talked about the fact that when these fluorocarbon strings or nylon strings, the thicker they get, the thunkier they sound. So heard alone, this is a string without a lot of presence and without a lot of definition. So we prefer the wound string, especially because often, at least for me, when I'm playing an instrument with a low G string, I'm finger picking, and I want that bass string to resonate throughout the measure. I'm often hitting it at the beginning of a measure, and I need it to go for all, most of the time, all 4 beats. And the fluorocarbon string just doesn't do that for me. So then the question is, why would anybody choose the fluorocarbon? Well, it gives you more balance with the other strings. It does not stick out as much. It doesn't sound as different. And so if you're strumming and you want all the strings to have a more even tonal balance, then the fluorocarbon might be the choice for you. All right, hope that helps. See you next week. Bye-bye.